everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Christy. I am so glad that you're here. Today we are continuing my Istanbul series. We're in Turkey and I'm so excited about it. In today's video, I am sharing the must-see sites in Istanbul as well as the neighborhoods you should be checking out on your trip to Istanbul. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so below. I'm linking all of my Turkey videos in a playlist, so if you're interested in seeing more, they'll all be linked here. Let's jump into the video. I am a very visual person, so I thought it would be helpful to show you on the map each area as I touch on it. To start, let's take a look at Turkey. Turkey is a unique country because it is transcontinental, meaning part of it is in Europe and part is in Asia. Istanbul is an even more unique city because it straddles both continents, meaning it has influences from both cultures. As we zoom in, you will see the Bosphorus, which is the body of water separating the European side of Istanbul from the Asian side. This body of water here is known as the Golden Horn, and we are starting out south of this, in an area of Istanbul known as the Old City. A must-see neighborhood in this area of Istanbul is Sultanahmet, which is where many of the popular sites are located. Of the sites in Sultanahmet, I recommend visiting the Blue Mosque, which is an Ottoman-era historical mosque that was built between 1609 and 1616. It is so beautiful, and while it was still under construction while we were visiting, I highly recommend going. My favorite site in Istanbul was Hagia Sophia, which was absolutely incredible to see in person. It has such a rich history, being that it was completed in 537 as a church and then was a mosque during the Ottoman period. It is still a mosque today, but still features the original biblical mosaics from the 500s. Lastly, I recommend Sultanahmet Square, also known as the Hippodrome, which was built in the 4th century and is a walkable area that features historical items such as the Egyptian Obelisk, the German fountain, and more. My favorite museum we visited in the Old City was the Istanbul Archaeological Museums. This consists of 3 museums: the Archaeological Museum, the Museum of the Ancient Orient, and the Museum of Islamic Art. Everything in these museums was fascinating and we could have spent all day there. If you're looking for an itinerary for a day in Istanbul, check out my previous video above where I mentioned this museum and a few other sites. Another neighborhood to check out is Kumkapi, which is located here on the Sea of Marmara. A historically Armenian neighborhood, Kumkapi is known for its incredible seafood restaurants and exuberant nightlife. From their open-air restaurants and alfresco seating to the musicians performing along the streets to the beautiful light from the Turkish lanterns, this is a must-have experience for one of your dinners in Istanbul. The next neighborhood we are heading to is Eminönü, located along the harbor of the Golden Horn. First up here is the Grand Bazaar. With its construction beginning in 1455, the Grand Bazaar is one of the largest and oldest covered markets in the world, with 61 covered streets and over 4,000 shops. This place is huge and a bit overwhelming, but it is a must-see, especially on your first trip to Istanbul. Another bazaar in this neighborhood that I enjoyed more than the Grand Bazaar was the Spice Bazaar. Built in 1664, it offers endless spices, Turkish delights, dried nuts, and more. The view of the Golden Horn is absolutely beautiful here, and I recommend walking Galata Bridge for even more incredible views. We stopped by one of the numerous seafood restaurants on the bridge to experience an Istanbul classic. Across the Golden Horn and on the other side of the Galata Bridge is Karakoy, a continuation of the European side of Istanbul. To get to Karakoy, you can either take a tram, bus, or ferry. First up is a stop to see Galata Tower up close. We didn't climb to the top, but we enjoyed a coffee at the cafe next door, and it was perfect. We had one of my favorite meals of the trip in Karakoy in the Beyoğlu neighborhood. I think I butchered that, I'm so sorry. We had the Turkish breakfast at Van Kahvaltı Evi, and it was incredible. The last site I recommend visiting in Karakoy is Dolmabahçe Palace. I have limited footage because you're not allowed to take photos or video inside, but this place is a must-see. The palace has such a rich history and is absolutely stunning. We're going to head across the Bosphorus to Karakoy on the Asian side of the city and my favorite area in Istanbul. One of my favorite things about Istanbul is that you can travel by boat to so many places. The ferry ride across the Bosphorus to Karakoy is one of my favorite things we did while in Istanbul. The views are unbeatable, and I also just love being on a boat. I loved Karakoy so much. It was a funkier, more modern feel than other parts of Istanbul, and while I love those parts of the city too, it felt noticeably different when we were walking around Karakoy. I love that you can get so many different experiences in Istanbul. We started our day in Karakoy with the Turkish breakfast at Cafe Çekmek, and I want to mention it specifically because it's a family-owned business and they were so kind to us. The food was incredible, and it was one of my 2 favorite breakfasts on the trip. We wandered through the bazaar in Karakoy and through the streets, where there were plenty of restaurants, bars, cafes, and little shops. I was so sad that we had only left 1 day to spend in Karakoy, but we have already decided that when we go back, we're going to spend more time there. So that is it for my list of places I highly recommend seeing in Istanbul and some neighborhoods I would definitely recommend checking out. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so below. Be sure to check out my other Turkey videos, and I will see you in the next one.